Hello, everyone. I'm with this beautiful angel who introduced me to energies and spirits. And today we clearly know that we can only understand angels only when you are like an angel. And she is somebody who actually started my journey into this energy field. I'm so grateful to Farzeen Shroff, who is a Reiki Grandmaster, who doesn't like being called a Reiki Grandmaster. She's so down to earth, and I remember my journey when I started into this field, having those high energy conversations at her place was truly like a sunshine in my life. And I'm so grateful to the Sunshine Angel for being part of this Sunshine Life. How are you, this beautiful Miss Sunshine? How?
Hi, Kitty. My God, you're so sweet. Thank you for this wonderful introduction. And yes,
Uh, so, Farzeen, I am genuinely asking you that uh, today, how are you thriving, right? And I know that you are somebody when there was something that I would come to you for, your answers were so practical, but just the energy in which you speak is so, like powerful. So, how? Could you give me like a backdrop of your experiences or influences that makes you this person that you are today?
okay. It's been a long journey, a very long journey for me to feel the way I feel right now, or to respond to maybe events and situations in my life that I experience. Wasn't always like that, right? So I had my own journey, and but I think over a period of time, what has really happened is all these beautiful experiences that happened, even all the challenges that happen. I think in the challenges is when you are pushed to say maybe to test your courage, to test your limits, to test there is something beyond just what meets the eye. And I guess once, because of all those experiences, once I started tapping into that inner energy, I realized that everything can be drawn from within yourself. So it's like when you go inward, when you start drawing this energy from within yourself, you get all the answers. When you start listening to the voice of your heart, instead of, intellectually listening to the voice of the mind, which is also again the way the human race has been conditioned. We are so conditioned to always think with our minds, to think with our intellect, to think only with, what we've been taught maybe as our education system. But I don't think anybody ever taught us when we were growing up about how to really listen to the voice of your heart, how to listen to that inner voice, how to go deep within. And the voice which is deep within your heart is the voice of God. And I think even I didn't know it until I came across situations in my life where this was such a beautiful and such a marvelous thing to explore. And I guess once you start doing it and you start experiencing the magic, so once the magic starts flowing into your life, you want to do more of it and more of it, and then it becomes like a habit, doesn't it? So I guess that's the same thing that happened in my case. It's just a habit for me, that I think virtually every situation, every episode, every event, anything that I experience, I always look at it as an opportunity for beautiful and tremendous growth, opportunities for evolution of the soul. Yeah, so this is how I feel. And of course I'm still on the journey, so I'm still learning and I'm still striving. So it's not like, I've really got there. But all I'm saying is it's very, very interesting that when I think there's nothing outside of you, everything is just inside of you. So the more you go deeper and deeper and deeper within yourself, the more you explore and open up a whole new world which you never knew about. So
Yeah, I just listening to you, I actually went back to those years when I used to come to you. That every word that you speak is so powerful and positive. There was words like magic, there was words like
hmm.
opportunities, which is itself speaks of, and of course we all are on the journey. But I know that, so if you could give us one experience where you felt it was probably a dip, but how did you rise?
Hmm.
It was an experience
Hmm.
which probably the old Farzeen would have gone probably much more down, but how did she rise?
Okay, let's take the current situation, since we are all in the current situation and we are all experiencing it. It's out there. I mean, there's no denying it, right? So nobody anticipated a lockdown. Nobody anticipated that the world would come virtually to a standstill, like complete standstill. And the thing is, how we are always so again, how we are always so tuned in to always live in the future. Like, I have this project that I need to do, I have that project. So I had a lot of projects, that was kind of lined up in this 2020, and I had planned out my whole year, and there were many things I was going to do. I was going to travel to a lot of places, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of shut down. So the earlier Farzeen would have had a very normal reaction, and of course there is no judgment, because I think it would have been a normal reaction for anybody. And I know there are many people who would have had that feeling even at this time, where you suddenly feel helpless in a situation like that, where you feel there is no way out. And then you feel like, oh, but when it gets over, because everybody's talking about when this whole thing dies out, when it gets over, world will go back to its being normal. But we still don't know what is a new normal. And that's exactly what happened with me. So I was like, okay, this is a crisis like situation. I'm always teaching about energy work, and I'm always teaching people about being in the moment. Now let me see if I can really, really be in this moment. So my travels got cancelled, my workshops got cancelled, things just came to a kind of a standstill. And when everything came to a standstill, I became still. I just became still. I said, I think this is such a beautiful opportunity that we have got, or at least I have got, to actually experience what it is like to be a human being than being a human doing. Because we're always doing things. We're always wanting to do this and do that and go here and go there and do this project. We're always running, aren't we? So this was like, so when the world became still, I became still. And I can't even begin to tell you that this stillness that has happened in the lockdown has opened up something in me which probably hasn't been opened up in like since I was born. And it is in 2020 that I experienced that stillness which I've always craved to experience, that thing which I always speak about, that spark or that energy which I teach and talk about. I actually experienced it in a complete, like, how shall I say, magic in action. It's like in constant basic action. So even like when everything is still, that stillness within me gave me a lot of peace. It gave me a lot of peace. It helped me to just go retreat, go within myself, meditate a lot. And when I started meditating, I felt a lot of download coming in, a lot of information, a lot of understanding about the entire situation. The whole situation outside no more was like, oh, when is it going to end? It was more like, okay, whatever it's teaching us, I hope we get the wisdom to learn whatever we need to learn from it. And I hope more and more people start feeling the stillness that I'm feeling. So I started reaching out, to people. So the initial part, I was completely still. I just went into my shell and I started having all these experiences. I had started feeling a kind of a sense of I wouldn't say joy, because I know that there has been, also are people out there who have suffered through this entire phase. So I wouldn't exactly use the word joy, but I would say a kind of a stillness which made me feel that this time and space can be exactly the way I want it to be, if I just use the power of energy in pushing it into the direction that maybe I want, and go with the flow and ride the wave. So I think it all boiled down to that. And so I started reaching out to a lot of people through some revisions. And then of course Zoom started, right? Like Zoom has changed everybody's life, hasn't it? It's like technology, you see in a very different light. And I was so averse towards technology. I mean, Kitty, if you've known me, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like, I want to stay away from my WhatsApp. I want to stay away from my laptop. I want to stay away from, and I always called it EMF, electromagnetic
Yeah.
fields. And why do we need to keep touching these things? Why can't we be more with nature? Why can't we spend time, So this is the old me, right? So judgmental about technology, or so judgmental about the electromagnetic fields. And now the stillness suddenly makes me feel, listen, the EMF and the electromagnetic fields and the technology which you've judged all your life, Now you will have to just completely undo it all and change your whole perspective. And I actually did that. So I actually got down working with technology, getting to know, how it all works. So that was a very big step, and I never really thought I would do it. So that was like a milestone for me, because this is also energy, correct? What we are doing right now, where you are sitting where you are and I'm sitting where I am, is energy. But I just judged this energy so much all these years, and it's like this whole event has helped me drop all my judgments about everything, even in the field of energy. And the same thing that I judge so much today, I am so grateful to. Today there's so much of gratitude that thanks to this whole experience and this realization, I can use the same technology today to reach out to so many people and feel a connection. Even though there is social distancing physically, I don't know, Kitty, if you have sensed a sense of connection with people, which is probably far deeper than it has ever been when we were not in the lockdown. I don't know if you have experienced it, but at least I have felt that kind of a connection with people. And I've always been with people physically, but this connection where I'm not with them physically, it has given me a deeper connection with people. And so this has been a major breakthrough and a major shift in my thought process, dropping of judgments, dropping of everything, just shedding it all, like how life could have been or what I could have done, living in the present moment every single day, even doing household work, which I never thought I will ever, spend time, and actually finding God in even your jhadu, pocha and bartan that you do. It's not just about, going out there and doing the big things. It's not just out there going and changing the world, but I feel you're changing your inner world even with these things that you're doing, which otherwise you would judge them and say, oh, these are mundane things, and we are in Mumbai city, these things can be done by other people. Yes, all true. But did we ever experience that there will come a time where we will fend for ourselves in a way where we are so self-reliant that there is absolutely no dependency on anybody? So I think this has taught me self-reliance in that sense. It's taught me how to drop all my judgments. It has taught me how to also love technology and honor it and worship it and use it and have so much gratitude. It's taught me how to connect with people without physical contact and yet feel a very deep connection. So yeah, Kitty, this has been like, my whole experience in this entire time. And not that now, I think I've moved away from that space where I'm saying, when the lockdown gets lifted, how we always again live in the future.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's now, July, August. It really doesn't matter. What matters is, I think this is true living. This is like making me into a human being rather than becoming a human doing. So if I have to unlearn everything I have learned, the way we have been conditioned, and if I have to truly experience how I need to connect with Mother Earth, or how I need to really be able to ride the wave or connect with the energy that is currently, it's only when you connect with the energy is when you are in sync, when you are aligned, and when you are in centeredness. And energy is all about alignment, isn't it? So if you're not, and if you're still conflicted with what is happening outside, then you're not in alignment. But if you are okay with what is happening outside, then you're in alignment. Maybe now on we will only be moving around with our masks. We used to see this in those movies. Remember those sci-fi movies, and we thought this is how the world would look, and we never really thought that we would actually live to see a day like that. Today we live to see a day like this. It's like we are out of a sci-fi movie, or everybody walking around in masks, which is pretty strange. So many beautiful, anyway. But yeah, so that, I hope that.
Wow, it is. Thank you so much for sharing. I think this is the first time that I'm getting to hear a very vulnerable side of you in a very, I think probably after years, because you were somebody who always spoke about your vulnerabilities. But it was so amazing to hear that again from you. But Farzeen, how are you staying still? Like, what if there is somebody out there who's
Hmm.
listening to us right now,
Hmm.
feeling not the way, probably you are feeling,
Yes.
the understanding of energy, connection.
Hmm.
If you could give like either a practical tip or make us go through something, or, pick up something. I know you love reading books. I remember getting in touch with you and get so well connected to a lot of books thanks to you. Anything, something practical that probably you do in your life,
Yeah.
that, or something, whatever you feel needs to be out there.
Okay, so what I do are very simple things, really. They're not really, out of the ordinary. They're not like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or you don't have to be an energy worker. They're just very simple things, and
I
that
want to
is,
see that in
I
your
have.
energy field. I think
I'm going to
it's
tell you in detail what
touching
those
now.
simple things are.
I think, Farzeen, I'm talking to you after years, but just when you came in, just these this attitude of just call me Reiki teacher, not grandmaster, not master. It just shows how down to earth or humble are you as a person, constantly living in gratitude and with the attitude that it's not this, it's I'm still this. So thank you so much for imparting that back to me. Please carry on.
Yeah. Okay. So the little small simple things. I always enjoyed my cup of tea, even before the lockdown. But now my cup of tea has become incredibly special. So I'm going to share with you all the small things that I do, because I only do these little things, and there's a lot of joy. So, for example, earlier when I was a human being, doing things, and rushing from this, that, making my workshops and designing this and teaching people, and when I was so caught up in all of that, I had timelines and I had schedules and I had to always meet them, right? There were deadlines. So anyway, now moving into this new phase, and I'm like, okay, nowhere to go, nothing to do, nowhere to be. I'm in a space where I can do whatever I want to do, right? Now that was hard because suddenly there are no timelines. I don't know which day of the week it is. I don't know what time it is. I am all by myself. There's nobody ringing my doorbell. There is, you've met Angel, my pet dog, so we are just the three of us. It's just me, Somit, and Angel that who live
Your
in this
beautiful
house.
husband. Yeah.
Yeah. And we started enjoying small things. So small things like making a cup of tea would be a whole process, which we would get so excited about, like taking the whole or aroma, putting in the tea leaves, feeling a sense of how the water is brewing that tea. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like very, in a very animated way, just feel the whole process of the whole tea making, like how it is evolving from just water and adrak, and now we put the chai patti, and now we are getting the aroma of it, and then we would sit and drink it for 1 hour. so so we started enjoying our cups of tea, which was like a thing to look forward to. Okay, so we would say, okay, we'll finish this much work in the house and we will enjoy this cup of tea. So we started doing those small things, and I think I also started doing all the things I've always wanted to do but never had the time. So for example, I always wanted to play my guitar and compose new music and write new songs for Meher Baba, because we kind of love Meher Baba and we follow him. So I always wanted to do that, and I always had this excuse, but where is the time? We have to do this and that. But now I'm like, I have all the time in the world. I can choose what I want to do. Nobody's sitting on my head. There doesn't need to be everything like that has to be done in a particular way. I can do it the way it resonates with my soul. So I started playing my music, I started studying, I started reading, I started sleeping, I started making my cups of tea, I started cooking new things in the kitchen, and just being with myself of how I am feeling right here, right now, without saying that I am this person who needs to achieve anything in the course of the day. So these are little things, and it's in these little things that you can find God. It's like making your cup of tea and drinking it for 1 hour. You can have self-realization. You can find God in that. Going with Angel for a walk for one hour in the morning, one hour in the evening. I mean, we always did it, but what I'm saying is now we don't need to go back home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the walk in the garden, and now it starts raining, so let's get wet, because it's okay, you can get wet, it's fine. And so we would all get wet, and Angel will go roll in the mud, and now come back, and like there is no fixed time for anything. And I know that I have always been such a, timeline kind of a person, like with discipline and this and that. But I'm like, it's okay. Even this, even there is there is something beautiful even coming out of this. And it's when I started doing these little things, it's when I started experiencing the peace, the calmness. Okay, if I have nowhere to go, nothing to do, and nowhere to be, of course we have to pay our bills. And I know that a lot of people are losing their jobs, and I know a lot of people have that stress out there. They don't know how they're going to, where they're going to get their next check to pay their rent. And I know that this is also out there. So I'm not in denial. I understand people's pain. I speak to a lot of people and I connect to them. So I know that there is a lot of distress out there. And my only advice to all of them is that no matter what you're going through, if you just change your perspective, just with a small shift, maybe just with that cup of tea, just enjoy small little things in your day. What you are doing is you're changing your vibration. So the fear vibration or the worry vibration, you are now switching into a love-based vibration. And the minute you change vibration, and that's what we learn in energy, right? That the minute you change your vibration, everything around you will change. Everything around you will be shifting. But if you keep focusing on that lost job, or if you keep focusing on the fact that, your bank balance is going empty, and if your focus is only out there, there you have actually given away any possibility or any opportunity of growing leaps and bounds, because you have chosen to only see the lower energy and not a higher energy. So it's like putting all the knowledge about energy and assuming, like I how you said, that simple things, somebody who doesn't understand anything about energy, how will they implement this thing? It's very simple. When you worry more. When you have fear, you will have more fear. When you give out fear, more fear will come your way. This is just the law of nature. So if you drop out of fear and if you start doing small basic, okay, so a lot of people have called me with a lot of fear and anxiousness and anxiety that they have been facing with the situation. And the first advice I tell them, stop watching the news. That is
Yeah.
my first advice to everybody. Please do not tune into the news. The minute you tune into the news, you've tuned into the consciousness of that many thousands of people who are tuning into the same news, who are operating and vibrating with the same level of fear. So you tapped into fear. You did not tap into any love. You did not tap into any multiple possibilities. So the first thing you should stop doing is watching news or being in connection with anything that they show on social media, where they keep counts about the death rate. Like how there are countries, there are these meters that flash on the
Yeah.
internet, and they say so many people have been dying, and I'm like, okay, fine, people are dying. But we learned, right, when we were doing the energy work, what is death, and in whole understanding and the journey about death. But because we are conditioned and because we believe death is a negative thing, we tend to have fear attached to it. That what if I die of COVID-19, or what, we all have to die in any case, someday or the other. Now, whether you die way or that, how would it matter? But it's all the fear that is generated and created by the media, I feel. And that is the fear that we are kind of, eating into. And this is where we have to cut the cord. You stop connecting and with the news, you disconnect from the media, you've disconnected from the fear. You connect with love, you connect with nature, you connect with your whole tea making process or coffee making process, whatever is something that you resonate with. You connect with anything that is creative and that makes you happy. Just connect with anything that makes you happy without worrying about what is there in the future. And by being in the now that makes you happy, your future will be taken care of, your bills will be taken care of. Of course, it's easier said than done, because when I say that, people say, oh, but money doesn't grow on trees. But my belief system is, maybe it does. Have
Yeah.
we even looked at that? Do we even see those perspectives? No, because we're conditioned so much. You see, so even if you don't know how to do meditation, even if you don't know how to do energy work, all I'm saying is just disconnect. Happy. Also, don't spend all your time in the day only being connected to Netflix and Amazon Prime. Because again, when you do that, what you're doing is you're just cutting one part of yourself out, which means when you come out of it, again the fear comes in. So every single time it becomes like a fix, like how sometimes drug addicts, they need a fix. Now that becomes your fix. But let the fix be your inner good feeling, which is all the time there without you depending on anything else. And that kind of helps. I don't know if that makes sense, Kitty, but this
Yes.
is what I have been doing. And these are things we have been practicing, which is what I'm sharing, and it's working. So it's tried and tested, and it's working so beautifully. I've been sharing it with a lot of my other friends, my students, and they are benefiting. So they are sharing it with furthermore.
Yeah.
So this is the mass consciousness. We need to connect to this mass consciousness, this happy wala feeling mass consciousness, not the worry, not the fear that is all attached. It's all out there. Let's say, okay, we didn't have COVID-19. We probably would have been in some like World War III. True. So we are just, it's a part of human evolution that humanity will ever always go through something or the other, like which may look seemingly negative, but you can change your perspective and make it maybe an opportunity in your life to grow, an opportunity in my life to do things I never got a chance to do. It's an opportunity. This is what I'm saying, because it's how I live my life. And if you can take a little, maybe a little small anything from what I'm saying, then you can make it an opportunity in your life and do things that you love to do, which you've never done. Why? Because you were always worried about the future.
Yeah.
You were always saying, when I save this much money, I will do this. When I get married, I will do this. When I have this job, I will do this. But who knows what we have tomorrow? But we only have today. Today is the only thing we have. So if it's raining out there, just go jump in the rain and get wet.
Yeah.
Because your heart wants to get wet in the rain. Your mind is saying, no, my clothes will get wet and I'll get a cold and all that. That's the mind talking. But the inner child, the heart inside is like dying to go out there and get wet in the rain, isn't it? Well, I have Angel, so Angel keeps teaching me these things like, let's go roll in the mud, let's go get wet in the rain. So, yeah.
I would like to share here with you that I have written one chapter, and I've actually, the book has apparently become a bestseller. We are a group of some women who've done that. And
Okay.
you are an angel in my chapter, and my chapter is actually called Magic. And you've actually
Okay.
used these words, and I didn't realize that your dog is also and called an angel right now.
Yeah.
So every time you're saying angel, that thought keeps coming up that you're my angel, you're my angel. And I think you said so beautifully, Farzeen, about these small things, being in present, creating stillness, creating, unlearning things that we probably learned, thinking that's the right way of being. But today, I think it's got all of us out of our comfort zones. And that
So
is why
true.
I think it's so perfect to name you Sunshine Angel, because that's what you're doing. And that's what you actually said, that you spread that and those people spread that. And that's what you're doing. You're like being that ray, and it's spreading on its own. So thank you so much, Farzeen, for this beautiful conversation. You can see that I'm smiling by the end of it, and spreading so much smile and being so down to earth as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kitty. It was an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Love you.
you. Love you. Send my love to Somit and to your angel. Who I get
I
scared.
will.
But thank you
I
so
will. I will.
much.